How many times do you notice other people's license plates when you drive around? Not so much? Well, to some, a license plate is even more important than the car itself, which is why the world has seen millions spent on personalized plates. Whether it is to doll up a Rolls-Royce or a grand gesture for a loved one, people are willing to spend big for vanity. Around the world, you'll find some ridiculous sums being placed on license plates. So how much are people willing to pay for license plates? Here are 10 of the most expensive license plates ever sold. Number 10. License plate 1RH, $290,000. The very first plate number on this list goes to show that sometimes even the calmest and collected businessmen get ahead of themselves in the auction, going above and beyond their expected budget. At least that was what happened when Robert Harverson wanted to buy 1RH regardless of the price tag. The businessman was so determined to get his hand on the plate number that he blew his budget almost twice to get plate number 1RH. Harverson was already known for his hobby of collecting expensive registrations. The multimillionaire owns 10 private plates. Still, the price he paid for this license is pretty far-fetched, even for a man of his taste. For some reason, the plate number commanded some fierce competition, and even Robert, as determined as he was, had to fight through his nose at a 3-day event to win the bid for the license plate. But not without paying the price. He paid a total of about $290,000, along with other charges for the registration 1RH, which is 30 times more than the reserve price of the prized license plate. Number 9. License plate 51NGH, $300,000. This dateless license plate may owe its popularity to its similarity to the famous last name Singh, but it still pulls its weight in the expensive department. It broke the record when it sold for over $300,000 in auction way back in 2006. For context, that's roughly 2.5 times more than its younger brother S1NGH, which some consider much desirable, went for at auction. The cherished license plate was auctioned off to its new undisclosed owner, and it disappeared, supposedly never to be seen again. Well, until it resurfaced in probably the most unusual way. The license plate, the car it adorns, a Rolls-Royce Phantom drophead, and even the owner all feature in a video of music pop star Jazzy B. In his album Rambo, the Punjabi star features several top-class plates, V1, B1, and E1, and of course the acclaimed 51NGH, all reportedly owned by Pete Singh Verdi, a property millionaire from Birmingham. Mr. Verdi is also reportedly owned V1 RGY, G4 FFA, and P51 NGH, which all in all makes a serious license plate collection. Number 8. License plate GS1, $300,775. The story of this license plate wowed even the auctioneer in charge of its sale. One of the oldest license plates in the world, this plate was initially registered in 1928 at the auction it was sold at. Quite the fairy tale ending. The auction primarily holds for selling off antiques that otherwise would not be usable in any other setting, which is why it's surprising even for organizers when the license plate GS1 sold for $300,000. It was initially billed to make about a third of the prize it made, but the license plate gave its old friends a benefiting farewell when it sold for the astronomical price in 2005. The owner of the vintage license plate chose to remain anonymous, but whoever he is, he must surely be a fan of the antique lifestyle, and no other license plate screams vintage like GS1. Before we move on, leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be the first watching new episodes. Number 7. VIP1, $350,000. Being number 1 is something everybody wants. A license plate that says VIP may be the closest to getting that title ingrained, so of course, a lot of people are more than willing to pay for it. Roman Abramovich is no exception. Russia's richest man, owner of Chelsea Football Club and governor of a Siberian province, boosted his trophy lifestyle with the crowning extravagance of a Kilkenny license plate. Mr. Abramovich bought the license plate VIP1 plate first owned by Kilkenny businessman Bill Finnegan in the 1970s and later by Pope John Paul II. Yup. The much sought-after plate was given to the founder of the Kilkenny Beer Festival, Bill Finnegan, in recognition of his work on behalf of the city before being commissioned especially for John Paul II's visit to Ireland. The Chelsea boss wasn't keen on letting the Pope keep his grand prize and snatched it back in 2006. The whole thing set him back $350,000. But considering the man is a literal billionaire, it's a fair price to pay for the exclusive license plate. According to sources, the Russian oil oligarch chose the plate for his Rolls-Royce Corniche for a truly deserving car for a deserving plate. Number 6. M1, $390,000. Back in 2006, Mike McComb, a businessman from England, shelved out $390,000 for the M1 license plate. The self-made millionaire made most of his fortune after selling his retail business for $40 million. So it was only right that the father of 9 treated himself to some well-deserved pampering. That would have been great, but that's not exactly how it went down. Mike reportedly bought the expensive license plate as a birthday present for his 6-year-old son, even though he wouldn't be able to drive for another 11 years. Before Mike, the license plate has served a number of owners and cars, the first of which was a 1903 16-horsepower 2-cylinder Darracq that graced UK's Cheshire County estate in Tatton Park. Interestingly, the general manager of Tatton Park only sold the rights to the license plate, so even though Mike's son could enjoy his plates in 11 years or so, the original will remain on the Darracq forever. Number 5. S1, $400,000. Believed to be Scotland's first ever license plate, and originally on a car owned by one of Scotland's first car owners, Lord Kingsburgh, in 1903. This license plate is royalty, which explains its ridiculous $400,000 price tag. That wasn't enough to keep license plate enthusiasts away, though. It was bought by an anonymous bidder in 2008, who said it would be put on an old red Skoda. Yes, a Skoda. That means the plate cost 10 times the price of the vehicle. The unnamed owner claims that even though he had to outbid a lot of people to get his hand on the plates, it's a small price to pay for the worth of the historic license plate. Number 4. F1, $580,000. Mike McComb shocked the UK when he paid over $350,000 for a license plate. At the time, it seemed like the record would never be broken, or at least it would take years before it would be toppled as the UK's most expensive license plate. Spoiler alert, it didn't. In 2008, 2 years after Mike McComb's famed purchase, Osval Khan managed to break Mike's record to seal his place as the owner of UK's most expensive license plate when he bought F1. The plate now rests on his Mercedes SLR McLaren, which is just one of the many luxury vehicles that he owns. The British businessman has repeatedly stated that he believes the registration plate is worth a whole lot more than what he paid, and was grateful he could get it for that price. If it had cost more, he would gladly pay. Since then, he has been offered up to $6 million in exchange for the F1 plate. Guess his bet paid off, which he refused, opting to keep the prized license plate for himself. Number 3. 250, $600,000. The number sequence 250 may not particularly ring any bells to any random person on the street, but to officials at the DVLA, they are numbers they will never forget. Why? No biggie. It's only the number that adorned the most expensive license plate in Europe. To date, this license plate has stood as the most expensive plate that has ever been sold by the DVLA, and by quite a significant margin. The 250 plate is sought after because of the relationship to Ferrari 250 GTO, which, at £23 million, is the world's most expensive car. Ferrari lover and collector John Collins was only so glad to fork out a staggering $600,000 to secure the license plate in an astonishing, never-before-seen bid in the UK. The Ferrari trader put it to use on his rare Ferrari 250 SWB that was previously owned by Eric Clapton. Number 2. 4 million euros. The United Arab Emirates is known for a lot of things. Big buildings, big pets, and of course, billionaires who stop at nothing to get what they want. Coincidentally, one of these billionaires was in the building when a plate number with the inscription 5 was being auctioned. Taylor Kurv, who lives in the United Arab Emirates, spent over 4 million euros on a license plate with the single-digit 5 in 2007. A fan of the luxury lifestyle, Mr. Corey bought the license plate as an addition to adorn his long line of Rolls-Royce. That wasn't the end of his splurging. At the same auction he bought the 5 license plate, he made another bid for a different license plate, this time with 2 figures, 55, which, you guessed it, he went on to win. He went on record declaring that the number 5 has absolutely no significance to him, and he did it just because he could. Number 1. $14 million. In 2008, Mr. Ghaffar Khoury from the United Arab Emirates set the record of the most expensive license plate ever sold after he bought a single-digit license plate for over 8 million euros in 2008. After the auction, Mr. Khoury commented that he bought it because he believed that the number 1 was the best in the world. Working in a Persian Gulf city where there is not much public transport, the car that you drive is essential and represents pride and status. Whether or not that's why Mr. Ghaffar Khoury thought it to be so important that he got his hands on this license, the fact remains that he now has in his possession the world's most expensive license plate. There you have it, 10 of the most expensive license plates from around the world. Thanks for watching. Leave the comment down below and let us know what we should feature next. Don't forget to subscribe for new and upcoming episodes.